All right, so this the first video, first take, one take. Um, I'm doing this post to speak on some things that I'm seeing and kind of what's going on. I've been seeing a lot of my friends and people that I grew up with taking trips and going abroad and going on vacations, and that's awesome, because we all have to get our feet wet and just build some basic exposure. And it takes a little confidence to be able just to step out on a limb and even travel just for a vacation. So I applaud that, and I think it's good. But I feel like we can take this to the next level. Um, this theme is from vacation to relocation, and how we go from just having a tourist mentality to potentially becoming an expat or moving abroad, or just just really getting out there on the next level. So I got my notes right here. I'm gonna go to my notes throughout this. But yeah, you got options. There's a variety of avenues you can take. Say you went to the Bahamas and you really love the Bahamas, and you're thinking about how can you possibly move and live in the Bahamas for a certain amount of time. So I think, speaking from my own personal experience, my first time living outside of the United States where I'm from, was I went on a volunteer trip where I was working at a nonprofit school, a non-government organization. Those are great. You can look into those in different countries throughout the world. They have some websites that have databases and stuff like that. Um, it could be educational. You could go volunteering as a teacher. It could be environmental stuff, working on different environmental projects. Um, Church groups as well. If you have like religious affiliations, and your church group is going to do good work and things that are um, just up to a certain moral standard based on what you believe in, then I would encourage you to do it. Take that trip and do it. Also, you got job transfers. If you're already in a career, and the opportunity presents itself to be transferred to a different country or to a different department outside of the country, I think that would be huge and be an amazing opportunity. Um, it's also great for like investors, people who have more of an entrepreneurial mentality and mindset. Go out there, it might not take as many resources to invest in something that, doing that same project here in the States or in whatever country you're from, it might be more expensive. So from an investment mentality, also from a real estate mentality as well, looking into just different moves and pushing it to another level, as a people, instead of just vacation. Academic. So if you're already a student, um, study abroad programs, foreign exchange programs, fellowships, look into that stuff. Go ask the foreign exchange office and stuff like that on your campus. Like, you have to be proactive about it. But it's a lot of opportunities out there. With that being said, and yeah. So I mean, going from those are some ways. Those are some different avenues and options that you can pursue. As far as the teaching, what I did is I looked into getting a TEFL, a TEFL, a TSL, or something like that. But these are all certifications for teaching English as a foreign language. So some of these programs you can sign up, maybe a month-long night course or weekend course or something like that. You do it, and then a lot of them promote and have like job search engines, which can contact you and put you in contact with different opportunities. I use Oxford Seminars, oxfordseminars.com. That's the one that I use. And it was cool. It presented me with like 3 or 4 different options to choose from. Um, so that's a solid way to do it. Let me see. And so having those options, I feel like once you make that move, the benefits of making that move, the number one and the most obvious to me is the deprogramming and the change that you'll see within yourself and your perception of the world and everything around us. Um, you're gonna return back to your country by living. I've been I lived overseas for almost 2 years, and coming back to my community, it made me a asset within my community because I became bilingual. And Spanish, being from Texas, so that's big. Being self-taught bilingual, that says a lot. And then also just being an inspiring figure to a lot of people around you. Like, wow, you really went in and learned Spanish, and it's not crazy. It's nothing hard to do, but that puts you in a different light, and that really makes people view you in a different way, which is good. It can be used to inspire people. Um, and then I mean, just as far as mindset, like valuing you, a lot of the things that we think are so important and are so essential to happiness and to feeling like you're being progressive in your life, that's not really what it is. Like cars and shoes and all just the material stuff. You know, um, whenever you live in countries where don't nobody have all that kind of stuff, it puts everything back in perspective, and you come back to just what are my morals? What do I stand for? What do I need? And what do I have? You know what I'm saying? And you just learn to become more content with that, not settling for less, but or becoming, a vagabond or something like that. But you just come to understand and put things in perspective. Like, why do I have to trip about or spend money that I need for something more important on superficial stuff just to keep up with these trends and fads that are pushed a lot of times in more developed countries? Let me see. Yeah, I mean, by being over there and living there, you make a lot of friends, a lot of contacts, you meet a lot of good people, and you see that whether they speak another language, if they're in another part of the world, a different country, whatever, you see that people are people, and that they might look different than you, have different experiences, but they're people. So you'll see certain personalities that remind you of a personality at home. You know what I'm saying? You'll meet people and meet their family, and you know what I'm saying, get to know their grandmother and stuff like that. But that's where the roots are, and that's where the culture is. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you really learn the culture and gain an appreciation for people. Dating too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of beautiful people in the world. Go find you one. Let me see. Yeah, playing sports. Like being from the States, soccer's not very popular. But everywhere else in the world, that's like the biggest thing. So it's pretty awesome. I'm not that good at soccer, but I learned to appreciate the sport a lot more. I learned the rules and how to play and the basic tennis and stuff like that. So I gained an appreciation. And then from playing basketball, in some of the countries where I was, it's cool. Everybody talks trash. Everybody's gonna argue about fouls, and you just see these things. You get to see like we not really that different. We are in a lot of ways, but you're not different like that. You know what I'm saying? Like we way more similar than what we are different. You got good people, bad people, and it also makes you sharper. It makes you sharper in the sense by being alone, or not alone, but in another country, being outside of your element. You have to come to you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, what do I stand for? Am I living totally different than I would if I was at home? Like, am I the same person? You know what I'm saying? What do I stand for? You have to learn to take up for yourself. Um, a lot more because you're foreign. Somebody might try to the taxi might try to swindle you out of $5, and if you know better, you got to be able to stand up and go on that, and people respect it. They will. I don't know tough guy stuff, but just as far as bossing up. Um, Let me see. Yeah, and you know being in it and waking up in it and going to sleep in it and working in it, and just as far as in another country and something that is kind of foreign or different to you, you get to see the humanity in people. You get to from the looks, the different type of facial structures and hair structures and all kind of stuff like that. um the smells, the personalities, the different slang, and how that relates to certain slang that you might have grown up with. um the food, the music, the fashion, all that stuff. um and taking all of that and forming your own opinion, which is is huge. Like, for example, Colombia's I learned to love Colombia and developed a huge appreciation for it. And if you listen to media and watch Narcos on Netflix, then you just think it's a bunch of crazy cocaine cowboy kind of wild shit, and it's not like that. You have certain areas that's hot, and you have the majority that's not. You know what I'm saying? People living their normal everyday lives. But it's important that you go see for yourself how it is. I'm not saying go to the world's most dangerous countries, or if you read about something being extraordinarily dangerous from a whole bunch of different sources, you know what I'm saying? Just go walk around with no shoes on and shit. I'm not saying do that, but don't believe everything you hear. That's all I'm saying. Inform your own opinion. Um, and as black folks, I think that's very important because look at the things that get portrayed about our neighborhoods and our communities, and 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 how we are stereotyped and put in a box based on, oh, you from this side of town, you from this or that. It's like the same thing as judging the whole United States off one neighborhood in Chicago or one neighborhood in this Baltimore or Philadelphia or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's not right, and it's not right to brand all those people and everything that their country represents on the same stuff. Black folks, we should be able to see and understand that, get through the trickery. To the next point, it's huge making contacts and networking, and taking it from just your city, your area, whatever, to pushing it international. Make contacts and build friends and good people with similar like-minded thinkers. Um, Build those relationships with them now, especially as young people, because yeah, I don't have everything I need to do all the dreams and all these plans and stuff that I have in the future. But if I make my team now and I make these contacts now at home and overseas, by steady working on those relationships and those friendships and growing together, and just that mastermind alliance kind of concept, I know in the future it's gonna just all come together because the pieces are already being placed. Um, 6 degrees of separation, like basically through 6 people you can meet anybody in the world. Like it's just such a small world and we're all really connected. And by traveling, you only make more connections to be able to come in contact or work with more people in different places. Um, but before you go, or even if you go on vacation, you make contacts, you make friends, whatever. Boom, stay in contact with them. Facebook, Twitter, social media. Um, get the information from them. What are some good, I went to school for this, I studied that. What jobs can I come over there and work? Do you know anybody that works in these industries? Do you know people that work at schools? That was the mentality and approach that I used to make contacts to be able to move to Panama. So figure out the cost of living, the cost of food, transport, all that kind of stuff, the salaries and the pay, the currency exchanges, um, and then what skills do you have and how can you transfer those skills overseas. And another thing, especially I'm from the United States, so it's pretty much what I can speak on. But you're from a so-called first world country, and I hate these terms, but you're from a so-called first world developed country, right? And you go get a university degree in that country. That might not mean shit because there's a billion people who got a university degree just like you, a bachelor's just like you. But if you take that bachelor's, in my case from the United States overseas, that's a lot more pull. That puts you on another level. Fair or not, that puts you on another level. It's just a reality. You know what I'm saying? So things that you might can't do at home, you could do it overseas. Um, and the last point, just to kind of wrap everything up, uh, form your own opinion of these countries and these different places. Go see them for yourself. If you like them, explore the possibility of living there. Learn a language. That's huge. That's like learning a language and having experience working in another country is like steroids for your degree and for your resume and for just whatever. If you applying for anything and you could put some shit down like that, that's gonna put you in another category and people are gonna have to respect it. Being overseas and focus on business mentality. Pay attention to how commerce and trade and especially small businesses in other countries, because in the States you got Walmart and you got these huge big brands and pretty much all aspects of commerce. But overseas, it's a lot more hand to hand. It's a lot more small scale stuff. So how can we take that type of mentality and transfer it? Investments as well. How can we take these resources that we can make up here and be living middle class, lower middle class, transfer those funds somewhere else, invest those funds in that currency somewhere else, and it might multiply 7 times itself, 5 times itself, 3 times itself, even 2 times itself. That's powerful. Um, yeah, and finally, push yourself, be a trendsetter for yourself, for your people, for our people. And it's BlackPackas. You dig?